On episode 342 of Nintendo Switchcraft, there's a blue shell coming for your wallet. It's not just Marvel coming to the Switch. EA still doesn't get it. The Nintendo download and more on this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. Switchcraft is brought to you 3 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it. Tune in live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Who Takes All My Names? Get Switchcraft and my other content ad-free for as little as $1 by joining the Patreon over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And you can leave a bumper for the show. This is something that I'll play before or after the show. It could be a question. It can be just your thoughts on Nintendo in general. Whatever it is that you want. It's super easy to do. Call and leave a voicemail by heading on over to runjumpstomp.com/voicemail from any device, and I'll play it on the show. You hear that breaking sound just then? That breaking sound was the sound of my hopes and dreams for Mario Kart Tour. Mario Kart Tour is, if for those of you who are unfamiliar, it is a game from Nintendo. Well, actually, it's from DNA, but we'll talk about that in a second. For your device, your mobile device, your phone, your iPad, your tablet, your whatever. And right now, it recently started its beta test for Android stuff. And it's very important that they do a beta test for Android stuff. The reason being, there's so many different Android devices. You need to see how it's going to run on those devices. And also, it'll allow Nintendo to fine-tune the the requirements, like, oh, we don't want it running on these phones, we want it running on these because this is a bad experience. But based on what I've heard about the beta test, and I have not tested it myself, so I am unable to break NDA on this because all I have are Apple devices. I don't have an Android device. Oh, I wonder if I could have done it on my Chromebook, because I can install Android apps on my Chromebook. It never occurred to me. But this is just, I'm telling you what people have told me about Mario Kart Tour's beta on Android. First off, we've got some screenshots, so let's take a look at these screenshots. We can see here's Luigi being won by somebody, and then you can see some of the racers. So here you can see we've got Toad and Toadette up here at the top, and then we've got Baby Peach, Rosalina, Princess Peach, and then Metal Mario, and then down here at the bottom we've got Luigi and the Koopa Kids, and then Baby Rosalina. So that's interesting. I'm not, we're going to come back to that screenshot in a second. We keep scrolling down. We can see a picture of some gameplay. There's a giant arrow that goes out in front, and if you're just listening to the show, I apologize. The video and of everything that I'm talking about is on my YouTube channel, so you can check it out. There's like an arrow going directly out in front of you, and as you slide your thumb back and forth, that arrow will either curve left or right, and that's the path that the character is going to take. I did watch some video. I had actually, let me bring up my Twitter real quick because I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. It was Francisco Ramos sent me some footage of the game, of him playing, and you can see how the game plays, and I think it looks like it plays fun. Like, I don't see any problem with it gameplay wise. So somebody might be wondering, Bill, how come you're disappointed? Well, the reason I'm disappointed is actually, well, there's a couple reasons I'm disappointed. First off, and I kind of wrote down some notes while I was at lunch today for reasons why I'm disappointed on this. So let me bring up my notes. I forgot. Oh yeah. The monetization model. I'm very, very disappointed in the monetization model that they decided to go with for this game. Now, in order to address this, I want to make sure that I am being completely fair to Nintendo, okay? Because I don't think that Nintendo did what they're doing lightly. It doesn't mean that I agree with it, but I don't think they did it without thinking about the repercussions. Nintendo brought out Super Mario Run for iOS. It was this huge deal. Tim Cook's up on stage and he's talking about video games for iOS, and then out walks Shigeru Miyamoto, the man himself. All right. He walks out on stage and he has with him an iPhone that you can play Super Mario Run on, and they did like their little demo of what it's like to play Super Mario Run. He said that their design for games that are to be run on your phone, they're designed for this kind of game, is they want you to be able to play it with one hand, because that's how people hold their phones for the most part, unless they're typing. They tend to go portrait instead of landscape, and I am fine with that. I prefer to play games in portrait mode because it's easier to hold in my hand that way. Holding it this way, that signals to everybody around me, oh, he's playing a game. Holding it this way means that, I could be doing anything and nobody really knows what's going on. It's just more comfortable to hold a phone this way. So I'm all for portrait, and Mario Kart Tour is in portrait mode. So Nintendo brought out Super Mario Run, and they priced it at free, right? They gave you the first 3 levels for free, and then if you wanted to unlock the full game, you would pay $10. And Mr. Miyamoto was very, very specific about what they were doing. He said that games should have value, and they don't like it. They don't like how the gaming industry, especially the mobile gaming industry, focuses so much on nickeling and diming you to death. Here's a little bit here, here's a little bit here. The death of 1,000 cuts, where at the end of the day, you spent hundreds of dollars on this game, and it doesn't really feel like you got that kind of value out of it. However, you're not aware of how much you really spent on the game because it was at little tiny bits over time. And he kind of talked about that, and I was like, yeah, I totally agree. And I applauded Nintendo when they brought out Super Mario Run, because they had a very, very good monetization model. Now, the problem with their monetization model for Super Mario Run was partly their fault, but also partly Apple's fault. Apple allows anyone who has bought a game to review it. Okay, so on the iOS App Store, you can review a game if you've bought it. That means when they downloaded Super Mario Run, the first 3 levels, the demo, like, that means that they bought the game and now they can review it. The $10 DLC was too much for a lot of people because people are not willing to spend money up front for video games on their phones. And I know that there's people out there who are like me and think it's a better business model. It's better for the consumer. It's definitely not better for the developer. It's worse for the developer. They will make less money, but it's better for the consumer. And I prefer that model. I know that there's people out there like me who think that way. However, the vast majority of people, if you ask them to pay for an app on their phone, they will turn up their nose, no matter how cheap. They will spend $20 on coffee every single week, but they won't spend $1 for an app that they use every single day. And that is just really crazy to me. So Nintendo tried that experiment and it failed. And the reason it failed is because everybody who got the game for free was able to review it. And they didn't review the game on its own merits. They reviewed the game on the fact that they didn't think the $10 price tag was good. They would have preferred that Nintendo nickel and dime them to death rather than just say, here's the price, you pay the price, you get the whole game. And that's on us. That's our damn fault. Okay? That's our fault for showing Nintendo that doing things the right way doesn't work in the world of mobile devices. So then they brought out Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem Heroes, and I can't remember the name of the other game. Zibbida Dragalia Lost. They brought out all of these games, and they all had the Death of a Thousand Cuts microtransaction style mechanics. Okay, and once they got a taste of that sweet revenue, there's no way that they can go back. Like, they're a publicly held company. Their shareholders would revolt. Their shareholders would get pitchforks and torches if Nintendo didn't try and nickel and dime people to death anymore. And Nintendo still tried to hold back a little bit. So when the developer, because Nintendo is the publisher of Dragalia Lost, they're not the developer of that game. When the developer of Dragalia Lost was showing Nintendo all of the microtransactions and stuff, Nintendo said, I want you to dial this back. You've got too many microtransactions in there. And because of that, that company, the Psy Games, I think it is, like CY Games, they actually didn't hit their projected profit margins that quarter because Nintendo said pull back on these microtransactions. So Nintendo was still trying to be the good guy. Well, I'm here to tell you that is over. Nintendo is done trying to be the good guy in the mobile space. And if you needed any evidence, it's all right here on this screenshot. And again, if you're listening to the show, I'll just describe it to you. Here it shows this is you're about to go into a course from the 3DS on the phone, and it shows a bunch of characters on the screen, and the two characters at the top, they are Toadette and Toad. Okay, and Toadette and Toad on this particular course, they get 3 items. So when you hit a question block, you get 3 items if you're Toad and Toadette. If you are Baby Peach, Rosalina, Peach, or Metal Mario, you get 2 items from a question block. And if you're Luigi, or the Koopa Kids, or Baby Rosalina, and I assume that there's more off to the side, off the screen that I can't see that you would scroll by and see, then you only get 1 item from a question block. So depending on what level you're on, some characters are going to be more powerful than others. All right. How do you get the characters? Well, you get the characters. Are you ready? For a gacha system. And if you're not sure what that means, it's short for gachapon, which in Japan, gachapon is this. And actually, I did it when I was a kid. We would go to the grocery store, and we didn't call it gachapon because that's a Japanese thing. And over here, we just said it was the toy machine. There's like a glass box, then it has a bunch of toys that are like little tiny toys. They're not like expensive or anything. Little tiny toys in these little plastic bubbles. You put in your quarter, you turn the crank, and one of those little plastic bubbles with a toy in it falls out, and you get your toy, and it's random. Okay? Mobile games have been using gacha mechanics for a really long time now, where it's randomized what you're going to get. A very, very good example is Fire Emblem Heroes, which is, I think, by this point, has already earned Nintendo $500 million. $500 million with a friggin' B. They've earned $500 million on Fire Emblem Heroes because the game is predicated on whales. In the mobile space, developers depend on whales. These are people with buckets of cash that they have more cash than sense, and they just throw money at this game over and over to try and get the thing that they want. The thing that they want, the thing that they really, really are hoping for. So maybe it's a 5-star character, maybe it's a weapon, maybe it's something else. It doesn't matter. They're putting money in, pulling the slot. It's slot machines, basically. You pull the slot machine lever, and out pops whatever goodie it is, and that's how you're going to unlock these characters in Mario Kart Tour. In fact, the screenshot that I'm looking at right now, it shows that Luigi is a rare character. So they'll have like normal characters, rare characters, ultra rare characters, and things like that. But, if you've ever played Fire Emblem Heroes, you don't just get Roy. You get a 2-star Roy, a 3-star Roy, a 5-star Roy. Does that make sense? Like, it's like you get better versions of this character. And while Mario Kart doesn't have lots and lots of characters, in fact, I think that we've got the full list, which I can go through. We've got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Toad, Toadette, Rosalina, Waluigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Baby Rosalina, Metal Mario, Larry, Lemmy, Ludwig, Dry Bones, Dry Bowser, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Wendy, Morton, Donkey Kong, Koopa Troopa, King Boo, Shy Guy, Roy, Wario, Yoshi, and Bowser. Those are the characters, right? Well, those characters, I'm sure that you're going to get a 2-star Mario and a 3-star Mario and a 4-star Mario. And what this means is that if you want to win the game, you need to have the right characters for the course. Can you win without the right characters for the course? I'm sure that you can. Will it be easier for people who have the right characters for the course? Yup. It's going to be easier. And you know what that is? That's pay to win. That's pay to win. So pay to win in Fire Emblem Heroes, I don't care about. That's a single player game. It's not a competitive game. This is a competitive multiplayer video game where you're playing online against people, and it's pay to win. The person who either got lucky or threw the most money at this video game is going to is going to have the highest chance of winning. Will they win every time? No, but they're going to win far more often than anybody else because they have the better character for it. When they hit that question block, they're going to get, instead of getting just one coin, they're going to get a coin and maybe a turtle shell and maybe a banana peel. And now they're out in front and they can defend themselves for longer. This is a bad system to have in a multiplayer game. It's just absolutely bad. In every sense of the word, there's nothing good about this. This is terrible. Is it Smash Block in chat is saying, is it multiplayer? I've heard the best boasted only single player. I have heard that it does have multiplayer in it. In fact, I've seen footage from, let me click on this YouTube video real quick. Is that muted? Oh, it's already been taken down. Yeah. So the video's already been taken down. I've seen footage of somebody loading up a game, and when they loaded up a game, it loaded in a bunch of people, and it had like usernames instead of like Mario and Luigi and stuff. The beta is single player. I guess the released version will be multi. I'm almost positive that I think you have to play a certain number of races in order to play against other people. Pakio. I could be wrong though, but it is a multiplayer game. 99% sure that it's a multiplayer game. And because it's multiplayer, pay to win it's a sin. You don't want that in your damn game. It's going to give people an advantage, and it's unfair, and it's just not cool. Sound bad enough? Well, we're not done yet. The game also has time gates. So when you unlock a track, now you have to wait for that track to be built, or of course you can throw money at that and have the track built faster. Okay? It also has stamina. So you can only race so many times in a day. And if you want to race again, you have to pay money. Now, of the three things, the thing that bothers me the least is the pay to unlock something faster. Like that doesn't bother me nearly as much. The gotcha mechanic is really bad, but to have all three in one game, this is a disaster. And I have zero interest in Mario Kart Tour. I will check it out because I do a Nintendo podcast, but I mean, first of all, it's not made for me. I don't play games on my phone really. I very much prefer to play games with physical buttons, but everything about this is just bad. Anyway, let's take a second and talk about something good. We'll hear from our sponsors and we'll come back after that and we'll find out what besides Marvel is coming to the Switch.
Hello, look. Hey, listen.
Oh man, you guys have heard me talk a bunch about DC Universe or about MMOs and how they're not on the Switch, and I just love MMOs. Well, DC Universe Online is coming to the Switch this summer. So not just Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Now all your comic book fantasies can be reached by playing either DC Universe Online or Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Now, DC Universe Online is free to play. You can join. This is from their press release. It's free to play. Join thousands of other players in a massive online action game set in the popular DC Comics universe. Create and customize your own powerful hero or villain, and experience true action combat as you fight alongside the legendary characters such as Batman, Superman, the Joker, and Lex Luthor. Become part of our thriving community at DCUniverseOnline.com. Please note the download could take several hours, but it's worth the wait. Okay. This game didn't appeal to me very much, but what I did play of it was pretty fun. It's a good game. I don't like the UI, but it is a good game, and it's coming. Just says this summer. We don't really know. I'm excited because it's an MMO on the Switch, and the Switch is a place where very, very few MMOs exist. Most of them only in Japan. So I think that this is good for everybody. Misfit in chat says, I wonder if there's cross progression or if I can take my characters from other consoles. Now, I don't have an answer for you. And the reason I don't have an answer for you is because they didn't really say much about it. Now, I would assume that cross-play or cross-progression from the PlayStation version of the game to the Nintendo Switch, probably not possible. And I don't know if it has cross-play between the PC and the consoles. So I'm not sure. That's a really good question. And if you know the answer, you can let us know here at the show by tweeting at me at RunJumpStomp. Use the hashtag Nintendo Switchcraft and let us know if the game has cross-play or cross-progression currently between console and PC. If you're playing on the PS4 and then going to switch over to the Switch, I think you'll probably have to start over just because... what's the name of the Daybreak Studios? They're the company that made the game. They don't have the clout that Epic Games does to force PlayStation into doing the right thing. So I doubt that we're going to see that. Sorry for all the clicks. I was closing some windows. All right. Let's talk about EA. EA is bringing out or is kind of screwed over FIFA players over and over again. FIFA is the soccer game on Nintendo Switch, and I don't play FIFA. I've never played FIFA. Well, I think I played FIFA back on like the Genesis. Like that's how far back I played FIFA. But I'm not a huge fan of soccer to begin with, and I don't like sports really at all. So it's not like my kind of thing. But EA on the Switch has just over and over dropped the ball. Sorry for the metaphor, or it wasn't supposed to be a pun, but they've dropped the ball on the Switch version over and over. The first version that came out, it was missing some like the simplest of matchmaking stuff. Then FIFA 19 came out, and that one actually had an ad. There was an ad that had, I'm trying to find, there was an ad that said that there was a certain mode that was coming to the Switch. Okay. The Switch is this mode is like this squad building challenge where you have to, it's called the FIFA Ultimate Team. And basically it's on the PS4 and Xbox One, and they did an ad that said it was coming to the Nintendo Switch, but now they've taken down that ad, and basically they're not bringing Ultimate Team to the Switch. And there's an EA rep that posted to EA's forum. They said this SBC was not intended to be available for the Switch. As such, the advertising panel for the SBC has been removed accordingly. Okay, well then you shouldn't have put it up to begin with. And honestly, why can't the Switch get the same mode? This particular mode is not about graphics. It's not about graphics. So it's just so lame that they're doing this. EA, again, they just don't understand that Switch customers want to be treated the same as everybody else, and EA just doesn't get it. Anyway, let's move on and talk about the Nintendo download. This is every week on Thursdays. Nintendo posts the Nintendo download to their press site. I log in, I copy it, put it on my website, and so you guys can always find the Nintendo download on Thursdays at runjumpstomp.com. Nintendo is highlighting certain games that are coming out. So let's talk about games that are coming out in the near future. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is coming out on May 28th. Speaking of MMOs, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization Deluxe Edition. I love Japanese companies when they name stuff. It's just so stupid sometimes. Is the May 24th. That game is coming out. Looks just like an MMO. I've never played it, so I'm assuming it is an MMO just from this screenshot alone. The screenshot screams MMO. It's got like hotbars and a chat window. Other games that are coming out back in 1995 is coming out on the 24th. Among the Sleep is coming out on the 29th. Battle Worlds Chronos on the 28th. Chime Sharp is on the 28th. Crystal Crisis is coming out on the 28th as well. I have a review code for Crystal Crisis. I've not played it yet. Hopefully I can get that done as soon as possible. Happy Words is on the 29th. Lapis X Labyrinth is coming out on the 28th. I'm still under embargo for that. I haven't played very much of it, but I did post about 20 minutes of footage on my YouTube channel, so make sure that you check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/runjumpstomp. If you really liked Nintendogs on the 3DS, then where'd it go? Little Friends, Dogs and Cats is coming out on the 28th. It looks like a ripoff of that. And Terra Tech is May 29th, and Super Tennis Blast is the 24th. There's a bunch of other stuff on the Nintendo downloads, so make sure that you check that out, again, over at runjumpstomp.com. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will do the lightning round.
When you've lost your last man, hold A and B to continue where you left off. Do this before the title screen appears.
All right, we are coming up on 30 minutes, so I'm going to lightning round the rest of this. Team Sonic Racing does not have the opening movie included in the Nintendo Switch version. Now, this is just the opening movie. It's not really that big a deal, but why would they take it out? Maybe it was to save space. I don't know. I just think it's kind of lame. Again, treat Switch owners the same way that you treat everybody else. It's just kind of a weird decision. Baldo, which you might think is a game about me, but it's not. Is it a game about a bald person? No. It's like some kind of Zelda clone. If you're a fan of top-down Zelda games, it's not Jebro Unity either. I'm sorry. This looks really cool. Got a cool cell shaded aspect to it. And the combat doesn't particularly look great, but I like the art a lot, and it's got a lot of like Zelda style puzzle solving. I'm trying to find a good video or a moment of gameplay for that. I love the art style for this, but it's got like Zelda style puzzle solving. So that is called Baldo for the Nintendo Switch, and that is coming out. Let's see when it's coming out. We don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming to PS4, PC, and Nintendo Switch. There's a very cool video that I found on YouTube. It's called "The Birth of Mother: A Melody of Love." If you're like me, you've probably played a little tiny bit of Earthbound and not much else. And I want to play more Earthbound, but I just never have time with all of the new stuff that's coming. But Earthbound actually wasn't the first game in the series. The first game in the series was Mother, and it was made by this guy who used to be an advertising executive in Japan, and he was like really sick and stuck in bed and played his Famicom all the time and fell in love with video games and decided to pitch Nintendo a game. And this video kind of it's like a short 15-minute video, and it takes you through the process of what it was like to make that game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, even though that version of the game never came to the US until the Wii U, when it came to the US as Earthbound Beginnings. So anyway, it's a cool video. Check the show notes, runjumpstomp.com, and you can see you can check out the video there. All right, let's check the feedback. Last episode on Tuesday, I asked a question. I said, how many of you are going to buy the Switch controller from PDP that has the headphone jack? Reply with your reasons. And I got a lot of people that talked to me about this, and we had 84% of people who responded said no, they are not buying it. Only 16% said yes. Joe Walker says, I've been screwed over too many times by third-party gear over the years. Only stick to official controllers now, no matter what system. Lawworthy said he's not interested in something wired, and my current home setup satisfies my needs if I have to wear headphones. Let's see. Julian Sharp says it's not wireless and no interest in voice chat. Pawn says I'm not buying it because I find it unnecessary and I have other controllers that do what I need. Angie says no wired controllers for me. Plus, I don't play any games on Switch that needs or has chat. Rascal says the PDP controller doesn't make voice chat any better, and it isn't wireless. We got a bunch of other responses as well. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there you have it. It seems like the PDP controller, not great, although it's only $25. So I'm still on the fence about it. I mean, if you need a Player 2, it's got a 10-foot cord, by the way. If you need a Player 2 controller and you want them to have like the same controller as you on the Pro controller, then it seems like the cheapest option, because the Pro controller is pretty expensive. So I can see why people might not want it. All right, I think it's time to button this up. We're past a half an hour. Let's wrap everything up now.
Double Dragon 3, the ultimate in NES martial arts action continues with all new weapons, characters, and street fighting moves against the world's most awesome villains. Double Dragon 3 from Acclaim. The action keeps coming.
The action keeps coming. Become a part of the community over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. You can also watch the show live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. Get a hold of me at runjumpstomp on Twitter. Use the hashtag Nintendo Switchcraft because I've got multiple shows. Speaking of multiple shows, if you want to check out my other shows, and you should check those out. They are found over at runjumpstomp.com/shows. In a couple of hours, I will be recording an episode of Run Jump Stomp with Brian Dunaway from the Boop Show. He's an awesome dude, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking about video games. And tomorrow, I've got an episode of Run Jump Stomp coming out where I interviewed David Brevik, the creator of Diablo. That's right, the original Diablo. So make sure that you guys check out that podcast. And you can also see the video over at my YouTube channel. If you want to support the show, super easy. runjumpstomp.com/thank you. The music you're about to hear is Corneria Star Fox remixed by Noteblock. Find their music on YouTube. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I will see you all next time. Until then, bye-bye.